Hello everyone, this is going to be a simple one. July is essentially midwinter, so temperatures are really starting to drop. We would have experienced frost and probably even snow by now. Plant growth would have also slowed down considerably in our relatively warm coastal areas and in the winter rainfall areas. While further inland, the summer rainfall areas' growth would have stopped almost entirely. If you look around in the summer rainfall areas, you'll start to see how dry and brown everything is looking. And to a certain extent, this is just a characteristic of this time of year, something to be accepted and even embraced. But there are some things that can be done to sustain life and growth during this time. Down here in the coastal areas of KZN, you can have a beautiful green lawn throughout winter if you do things right. As I mentioned before, cutting your lawns a bit higher throughout winter really helps ensure that your lawn stays healthy. But the main issues in our gardens at the moment have to do with water. Most people make mistakes on both sides of the watering coin. It's amazing how much an automated irrigation system can help sustain a garden throughout winter. I see it time and again. The gardens that look the best on the other side of winter are usually the ones with an irrigation system installed. But this great tool can sometimes be your garden's worst enemy. Most people forget to put the irrigation system onto its winter cycle. And a winter cycle reduces the amount of water that's being applied overall. So if you forget to do this, you'll often find that your soil almost never completely dries out. And so moss and algae form on the surface of the soil, and water-loving weeds will proliferate. And by the end of winter, you have very little grass left. But gardens without an irrigation system, or at least a regular watering program, generally suffer from too little water over the drier winter months. These lawns usually go brown and eventually white. But the great news is that your lawn is usually still alive. It's withdrawn everything from its leaves in order to conserve its precious resources. To be honest, this is better than the gardens that have been overwatered, because at least the lawn is inhospitable for weeds too. Although sometimes there are some weeds that are drought resistant, and they'll take their opportunity during these drier months. The ideal is to find the watering sweet spot for your garden and your lawn. Depending on whether your soil is sandy or mainly clay, plays a large role in how much water you actually need to be putting down. But generally, I would say you should reduce your watering by as much as 60 to 80% in winter. The watering rule of thumb is to always rather water deeply and less often. So reduce the frequency and the quantity to achieve that 60 to 80%. If you still have a summer pre-sunrise setting, the water from your irrigation system can freeze on the plants and do damage. In summer rainfall areas, water deeply once every 2 to 3 weeks, and here on the coast, once every week or two. More specifically though, pay extra attention to your exotics. Generally, they need a little more watering in winter, and when you see bulbs coming up, give them a little bit more water because they'll need it more. Roses should be watered around about once a month now. You might also notice powdery mildew on roses or vegetables, so make sure that you water the soil, not the leaves. Another good tip if you do have clay soils is to set your sprinkler system on a cycle and soak method. Clay soil takes a while to absorb water, so watering for a long time may just result in water running down the street or down the drain. If you have watered for 15 minutes, rather break that into 3 cycles, like separated by 20 to 30 minutes. The first cycle kind of breaks down the surface tension of the soil, and then each subsequent cycle gives the soil a chance to really absorb the water down into the root zone. Adjusting the time of day that you water can also help your garden. If you are prone to frost in winter, you can also use your irrigation system to come on after sunrise to help melt the frost. In garden beds, it's around now that you'll really start to see the benefits of mulching, especially in the sandy coastal areas where water drains away quickly and whatever is left gets evaporated away. The mulch helps create a barrier that keeps the plant roots warm and helps prevent serious evaporation. You might also notice pests like scale or mealybug taking hold while plants are in a weakened state from lack of water. So try and deal with these by dealing with what is causing the stress. So that's like light or food or usually water. And usually when you do that, the plant will fight off the insects on their own. This is also a good time to service mowers, seeing as the interval between cuts can be up to around about a month at the moment. So if your local lawnmower repair center takes a little longer, it's not a big deal. Also look to repair those items like garden furniture now while you're not really using them. This is also a good time to try your hand at harvesting seeds. Look at aloes or leonotis. The seeds are easily harvested and grown, and you can use these plants to fill the gaps in your garden that you notice this time of year. On that note, this is a good time to plan for the next season. Take stock of your garden in all its bare beauty and evaluate what's working and what's not. Try to get an overall plan for your garden that brings unity throughout. Try to stay away from creating gardens in an ad hoc manner. You'll usually regret the fruit salad result in time. So rather call your local landscaper, garden expert, or find a friend whose garden you admire and get advice and become a gardener. So that about wraps up July's garden tasks. As I mentioned before, it's really all about watering and maintenance this time of year. But you'll definitely see the fruits of your labor on the other side of winter. If you're enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe, and we'll notify you as soon as a new video is up. Otherwise, happy gardening.